proposing to put in that pink area?
To be determined. Yep. So again, we're displacing classrooms all through this admin bar here. So all those existing classrooms,
what is
one-to-one. Use.
So the math could go down by the STEM?
As a former member of the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, I would feel more comfortable with that.
It would be exciting.
Teed it up for you and everything. Yeah. No. So again, it's not to say it's just dedicated space for classrooms. Okay, and exactly which ones go there and how that. I think that's really our next step. If you guys generally see a lot of potential in some of these key moves still and some of the small changes, our next step would be to sit back down with staff again and start to weave through some more of that detail. Okay. Yeah.
I noticed that, like, you're making those art rooms larger, and I notice a lot of space in here are computer labs, so I assume you're putting a computer lab somewhere else?
Right, so you're saying by the digital arts right now?
Yeah.
You're saying what's in this zone?
In all of there on this, there's a lot of computer labs and stuff, and I'm just wondering if those are going somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's something we would certainly spend more time talking about. I would say, if you ask us about trends in school design, we're designing less computer labs.
Yeah.
And more in the classroom.
I would say digital arts, CAD labs, specialty labs, no doubt. We still are designing those, but when we used to have a whole bank or a wing of computer labs, those are just not the case anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the trend.
Yep.
So you got a little computer.
Yep. Yeah, and one-to-one, laptop use, all those components are so prevalent and will continue to be that. We're seeing more spaces to utilize those devices. Okay, so what we're seeing is more smaller spaces for student meeting, like team meeting rooms, collaborative spaces, display screens on the wall with boat-shaped tables around them, so students can sit down and plug in and work together. And so those devices are moving around, and the technology we had in a classroom is now just getting spread out throughout the building. Okay.
We talked about the nursing station and all that too. We were shifting it over there to the peak area as well. Is that still potential?
I think still, yep. So a lot of value there.
I'm guessing then moving those classrooms next to the gymnasium where there's currently locker rooms, there'd also be some sound abatement added with that.
Well, if we determined that was a challenge, we would certainly study that further.
I'm just looking at the locker rooms are a natural sound bender from the noise in the auditorium, and if you put classrooms right against it, there might be noise from the stereo system.
We'd want to study that further. Yep. So the next key area, if we want to jump up a floor, Craig, really was the library. And last time we had talked quite a bit about the two libraries, value of East and West having separate libraries. We talked about the amount of space dedicated to library use right now, just as raw square footage and what that looks like. We talked a fair amount about whether or not we want two equal libraries moving forward. Maybe we still have two libraries, but they serve different purposes. So maybe one's more traditional in a quiet library, if you will, and the other one is more let's say louder. There's more engagement. There's more collaboration. It feels a little bit more like a commons than maybe a library. At a very high level, one of the questions that was asked to us was, how much is this enough square footage, or is this too much square footage? So what we've done is went back and again checked it against if we were designing a new building for the quantity of students that we have enrolled at the high school. And this is almost double the square footage that we would have dedicated to a library today for a school of this total enrollment. Okay? Again, that's combined east-west under one roof. That's not to leap to the fact that, again, we may not still want two separate libraries. Maybe we still do want two separate libraries. Even if we do, there's the potential that we could reduce the overall size of those libraries fairly significantly. So, big picture, that is a response to one of the questions that was asked. I think just furthers the potential that we have here. Still, exactly what that looks like and what the vision of that starts to come together to be, I think is to be determined. Right now, we have the one side labeled library. Okay, so maybe you start to think of that as traditional library collections, quiet study, quiet meeting spaces. And the other side we've labeled Student Success Center. Okay, and so at this point, it's trying to establish a little bit of a vision that potentially one side is more of a destination for additional academic academic support. Okay, so we may have peer tutoring space, we may have access to locating some department or teacher offices over there, so students could get support from departments or teachers. A lot of times we would talk about college and career readiness centers. Okay, so what are we doing to connect students with potential jobs or get them lined up for scholarships or for college applications? A lot of times we could locate that in some of these areas. We also talked about large group instruction in the last meeting, and right now we have those 2 study hall or kind of small tiered spaces. And there was a question about, do we still need those? Are those used? And we talked about that they're really not used as originally designed. They were designed intended to be used for. So I think one key thing though that we are seeing is still the desire for large group instruction. Okay, so especially with more collaboration, with more flipped classrooms, we're hearing that teachers would see value in teaching to a larger group and then breaking them into smaller groups to do the more core development of the curriculum. Okay, and so, but that really doesn't look like tiered, fixed seats with tablet arms like you may have used to see. We're seeing a lot more flexible spaces. So maybe a couple tiers, but the tiers are deeper. We're seeing movable tables and chairs, so you can still do group work and have a lot of flexible space. Or you can pull the tables out and get 150 kids into one room for a lecture or kind of a keynote presentation of some sort. So certainly have square footage to support that if this group, and certainly if the staff saw value in that as well.
Did you go back and talk to the staff or consider the one library, just a larger option that we talked about?
Yep, and Greg, I'll reflect you on some of your dialogue.
We did not talk about doing one library, no. We haven't talked to that portion of the staff yet.
Yep. And again, I think the key piece here is that we have a lot of potential. Okay, there's a lot of underutilized space. I think we have the opportunity to right-size the library. And again, whether it's 1 or 2, whether it's 1 bigger one or 2 smaller ones at the same square footage. Again, we're displacing classrooms, so we're going to need to refine home for some new classrooms. So I think this area certainly lends to the potential for some additional classrooms as well.
And as I understand it, kids now at East have classes in West and vice versa, so in the interim between 2 classes, there's adequate time for kids to get from West to this Success Center and from East to the library.
I think that would be the intent. Our understanding is that students move fluidly through the building, whether it's to electives or to East and West
That's not a problem.
classes. So we haven't heard that as an issue right at this point.
Very good.
Yep.
Is the high school still on a traditional 7-hour day or
Mods.
8-hour day?
I would defer to, yes?
It's the mod system.
Don't bring that back.
No. It's the traditional hours.
Thank you. That answer?
Yeah. So then I'm assuming there's a goodly number of students that still have study halls.
Yeah, can you speak to study halls right now?
What's the question? I'm sorry.
How are students doing study hall? Is that a key part of their day right now? How many students?
It's part of the younger students' day. Yeah, we have study halls for 9th and 10th graders, but if they opt to take classes instead, they'll take classes. We have off periods for 11th and 12th graders, which is the equivalent to study hall. We just don't put them in a study hall classroom. They are allowed to go to the cafeterias to study. And a lot of students, both all the way to 9th through 12th grade, will have to go to the libraries to do their study, go to the math labs, go to other areas of the building to get their work done. But we have traditional study halls, but we could survive without them.
Especially as we start to look at more of these common spaces and
Right.
group meeting areas.
So
This is
mostly,
really well.
so you're running a study hall every hour of the day?
Yes.
Okay, and mostly it's the younger students that are in it because the older students get privileges not to have to be in that study hall?
Correct.
So I can't read it, but I can read library on the left. What does your one on the right say?
It says Student Success Center.
What is that?
Okay, so what we had talked a second ago about, that would be space for students to go collaborate, get tutoring support. We often would bring department offices or faculty, staff, teaching offices into this area.
So do they have one of those right now?
Those are, I think they have those services, but they're spread out.
We have those services, they're spread out, we're trying to get them the same area, but with that building having had different remodels over the years, it makes it really difficult for us to do it.
How many students go to that?
Well, it depends. We have a lot of students who need additional supports. We're talking about students who are doing credit recovery. We're talking about students who are getting remediation help. We're talking about students who are in a really an intensive study hall environment where the numbers are really small, they get more attention, and we can put experts in reading and mathematics in there. So it runs the gamut. And we've got reading intervention only. We have math intervention only. So we're running supports for students who need those additional supports, but right now they're scattered in the building.
So then how many students take advantage of that?
Hundreds.
Okay, so any other questions about the high school concept?
So then some of that